We are live. Assalamualaikum. We are live. Sazia, please take on.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Let me first share the just a link with all my friends so that everybody can see.
Sure.
Please check whether we are live on. We had some technical issues. So therefore, what we are going to do is, Zishan, today we are going to start learning React.
Yeah.
Let's first do a hello world of React. You have your project ready?
Yes.
Why don't you take over and start? Let's start with hello world, and we will continue. I will continue discussion with you.
Okay. What I'm going to do is in last class what we did was we created a basic project with the npx create react app. So I'll first start explaining that project, what the structure of the project is, and then we'll move forward with this. So
Yes, go ahead.
let me just first share my screen. Okay. Okay, so this is the basic structure of application. If you can see, whenever we create a project with npx create react app, it creates following folder structure. It has a yarn.log file, readme, package.json, get ignore, src public. We'll talk about few files and we'll ignore some of them. First of all, let's see how the project structure is. As we can see, there is an app.css, app.js, app.test. We will not discuss app.test. Index.cs, index.js, logo, service worker. We will not discuss the service worker because it is related to the progressive web app and offline application. Currently, we are not discussing that, and setup will ignore. So whenever we want to start an application, first, as soon as we create application, what we do is we execute a command yarn start. So what yarn start do is it starts the application. To start the application, yarn needs a first file from where yarn goes. Yarn will look into it and yarn will start it. But this command comes from package.json. We'll discuss package.json file later. Start. What it does is it runs React script start. So we'll discuss this package.json file later. As soon as we execute yarn start command, it starts the application, and for that it looks for the index.js file here. In this index.js file, as you can see, there are a few imports: import react dom. React is a library. So if I'm working on my project and I want to use React in my project, so I need to use React library into it. So this is the structure of ECMAScript 6 to import a library in your project. So this is the React DOM. How we have this file? It is because of the package.json. We'll discuss it later. Import index.css. This is the index.css file. It has few basics CSS classes. Then we have app./app file. This is app.js. We'll discuss it again later. And service worker, for now we don't need it, so we can simply ignore it, but let it be here. Next thing is react dom.render. React strict mode, ignore the strict mode also for now. Initially what we need to do is we need very simple structure. Even we can ignore this, and what we can do is, let me this is the basic structure when you start an application. So I just remove the app.js also, and whenever I'll go and start the application. It look for the index.js, and whatever this React DOM render has, it will display on the screen. So let me hit the yarn start.
Therefore, to get started, basically,
Mm-hmm.
you have created a div. In that div, you have written hello world,
Mm-hmm.
and let's see if it
Yes.
shows up.
I just
I think you changed the code in the wrong place. It should have been in the app.js.
it's being loaded. It's being loaded. Sometime it take a while to load the
Yeah, yeah,
application.
it is there.
So here you can see the hello world.
What have you done?
Okay, so a simple React DOM when the basic structure of application requires to display whatever you are building into the HTML file. So what we have is in the public we have index.html file, and it has a div which has an ID root. This is a basic structure, and it will always be there. You don't need to change anything. It has a div ID root. Whenever we call this document.get element by ID root, what React render do is it requires a component or a div element or an HTML element and a HTML page ID or div ID where you want to display this. Initially, what it will do is it will just display this HTML file. If we will not add anything, it will show empty React application. It will be empty HTML page. But once we add this div hello world, and what we are saying this add display this element into root of HTML page. So here is the root ID of HTML div ID root. So what we say document.get element by ID root, and what we need to display in over here, we need to add div over here. Let me just show the structure also in browser. Body, like you can see, this is the ID root which we just saw in code div hello. So this div ID, and we have added this div into this structure. Let's say what I do is expand new text and just refresh it. Now you can see expand. So whatever I'm going to add over here will display in HTML page, and it will be displaying on our application. So this is the basic starting point of application, and from here what we will create our component, and then we'll start displaying everything. Any question till here?
I think, Zishan, let me revise it. What you are saying is that
Hmm.
React library takes a HTML element to begin with. In that HTML element, we basically render
Yeah.
a HTML component or
Hmm.
HTML tag or a React tag. Let's not use the word component because for a new person, it
Yes.
confuses them. Span is a HTML tag.
Okay.
Now, what you have done is basically
Yes.
taken a root, which is basically can be any HTML element, which is a div.
Hmm.
Taken that, in the render method,
Yes.
you have given two things: the HTML you want to render and the root
Hmm.
where you want to render it, and it will do the rest.
Yes. Yes.
Now this is a very good hello world. Let's build our first component
Yeah.
with the app thing. Or you want to do
So we
something else
already
different?
have app.js. Should we
Yes, let's go ahead with use that.
if we already have app.js, should we use
Yes,
that, or
Yeah, yeah. Let's use
create
that.
a different one. Okay,
Just
so there was already some HTML there. I am removing that HTML so that we don't need to use that. This is the basic structure of any React component you want to build. Let's say I'm just removing it as well. And what I'm doing is, hello from app.js. Now this file, any JS file you can create, and you need to import React over there. Function, app, curly bracket start. This is any simple function you just talk. You can just see this. Any simple JavaScript function. Function app, you can give it any whatever name you want, but at this moment it is. And then what we are going to do is we are providing a div structure, div hello world from app.js.
and this
It
app is a
returns.
component. This is a React
App is
component
a
or a
component.
React tag or a React tag to be more exact.
It will, yeah, it will become a React component as soon as we use it in our React application. So here we have created app function. One thing we have not discussed how this is happening. We'll discuss this later because it is not a string, it is not an HTML, it's something else. This div slash div, it's not an HTML, it's not an string. Generally, what we do is we return 5, we return true, we return string hello world. This is what JavaScript is. We can return object, but here we are returning a tag, which is different. So we'll discuss it in a moment. So this is the app component, and in index.js, what we have to do is just so it's already there. So we don't need to do this import. We can type it ourselves again. Import app from dot slash app. This is how you import any component, but for that it must need to export. Export default app. Then what I am going to do is I'll remove this span. Now I have a 2 or 3 options. First, what I can do is I just do this one.
This is a
Or
you have in the app when you have created an app, you have created a new tag. It's surprising.
yeah, it just create a custom component. Whenever we create we create a JS file and use that component and use that component, it just create a new tag. It create a
By
custom tag.
component, you mean a custom tag, a glorified
Yeah,
custom tag.
each time in context of React, whenever you create a new JS file, create a function, and you try to export it, and you are trying to use it in React syntax, which is called JSX. We'll discuss it in a moment. It create a custom component.
Because I'm just using again and again. I'm using the word tag because in the beginning people get confused with the name custom component. I'm
Okay.
just calling it tag for now.
Yeah. Okay. So now what happening is this app tag or component or custom tag will start displaying in our application. So if I'll go to my browser and see, it says hello world from app.js. So in app.js it's a tag. We go to app.js, hello world from app.js. Hello world from app.js updated, being updated. Okay. What I can do is, as I said, I have 2 options. I have another option. Instead of directly adding a app, let's say I want to do, uh, I want to add it in a div component. So I'll create a div and then I'll create app component. will stay the same,
So using
but
React,
what will happen is
using
on
React,
another div.
you can create your own HTML.
Yes, we can create our own HTML. This is the concept of component and custom tag, so that you can have multiple element in a single component, like we have discussed in our last class. That if you have a friend list, so there are multiple elements, image, text, and a link, everything. So you create a component which has multiple elements, and then you use that component wherever you want to use. Okay, should I move forward?
Yes, go ahead. I just want to do some
Okay,
experiment in the app thing.
let's. Yes.
Can I have another div in front of the first div?
Over here,
Yes.
no, it requires a single element. If I'll try to do, it will give me an error. You cannot have two element, because when we are returning an element, it requires a single root tag. So there should be a single element.
So therefore, it has to be a tree. You can have a div inside a div.
Yes, what I can do is this is my parent tree, parent div, you can say, and then inside the div I can add another div.
But you cannot have two parallel HTML or components. It has to be
Yeah,
a tree with a
it has
source,
to be.
single source element, and it can contain many other elements.
Yes. Just like HTML, in HTML you always have a parent tag HTML, then head and body, and each body has a single element, and then you can add multiple element in a body. So the body has a parent tag HTML. So HTML is the only element should be in the HTML page. Is there?
Okay. Okay. The
Now.
second thing
Yes.
I'm worried about is
Hmm.
please make it back to one div so that it doesn't complicate people. Because the
Okay.
art of learning is to do it simple and in baby steps. Don't try to learn too many things at the same time.
Yes.
Now, what the point is, now this we have this. Now you are returning. What are you returning in this app function?
This is interesting. This is not an string, this is not an element, this is not an HTML, it's JSX, JavaScript XML. It's in a JavaScript syntax, it's not HTML. So what React did is React created an HTML kind of syntax, and it's in a JavaScript, it's not an React. Let me go back to the index.js again and show you something. Whenever you try to create an element, let's say hello world, and show the output. Hello world. This div is actually a JavaScript XML. Behind the scene, React create a JavaScript object, and then use the React create element, and then it creates the object. So what React does is,
React dot create element is a way of
yes, actually, this is the actual code. Just a moment, I'm just replicating so user can we can see. This is the actual what actually execute, not this one. This is synthetic sugar, so that we can create HTML component and the React UI easily. Behind the scene, what React does is React dot create element. It put the div text here. It's null. It is for properties.
So
We'll
are you,
discuss that.
Nishant,
And then yes,
are you telling us that React basically has a compiler which
yes,
transforms the below code in the above code?
yes. What React does is whenever you provide this, React try to find out. And there's an interesting thing. React distinguish between built-in component and custom component. How React distinguish the small character? Whenever we provide element with the name small character, React identified it as a uh, what you say built-in component, and if we provide an element with capital letter, React understand it as what you say custom component.
So therefore, if it is a small character, it will think it is a HTML tag. If
Yes,
it is a big character, the first character is big, it will think it is a React tag. Am I right?
yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so behind the scene, every element, let's say, let me show the out world with create, create, create element. So here's the output. It's same div, but what we did is we did it with create element. Now, if I want to add element inside the div, what I need to do is I'm just making it a bit complex, but just to show so that user can understand, and then we'll revert back. This is the child of div. Whatever we need to add div, we need to add here the child component. So if I need to add another component inside a div here, inside a div, so I need to do again react dot create element, and I need to add, I wanted to add a span over here, and then hello in span create element. Here's the output. You can see div and span. So for normal user, this will be very complex and very difficult to understand and implement. So that's why what React did is React created a synthetic sugar tag library, so that you can it's in a JavaScript XML, so that you can create HTML element and your component using the HTML syntax, and the behind the scene React convert them into such kind of syntax.
So the JSX is basically to make things life makes life easy for you. Is it?
For developer and for the always the XML library is always good for the UI drag and drop UI visual tools also.
Okay,
So
okay.
let us go back to the easy world instead, because we cannot survive with this if we need to just create a four component over here. This will be difficult. So we are back here, and uh, and we are going to add app. This, and what we have in app file is again mm, hello world from app.js updated. So we'll see this output. So this is the first point, starting point of application, where you need to understand that whatever you are building, you are creating in a tag library, and the tags you are writing are not HTML, are not JavaScript, are not XML. It's in a JavaScript XML, and React convert this syntax into JavaScript, and then every element of that, it create a root, and then it display this in root of your div. This is the basic. from where everything starts.
Okay, very nice. But in HTML,
Hmm.
you have a lot of properties of the tag.
Yes,
Can we have that here?
yes, we can add properties over here.
How do we do that?
Okay, so let's say
Let's say
I'm
let's say if we pass the name, my name, as a property in the app.
okay. So there are two options. Let's say we need to pass in name over here. So it's just like any other property. So we have added the name Zia Khan over here. Now in component, one more thing, this is a functional component we are creating with the function. There is another component, class component, which are now being less used because of the new feature hooks. So we'll discuss this also later, but for now we have the uh, this is a functional component, so app, and we provided the property name equals to Zia Khan. We are in any HTML tag. It's not just for the React. Whenever you are creating an HTML, you can provide any property in any HTML tag. It will accept it. Definitely it will not be worthful, but you can provide any property to any HTML tag. Same here, you can provide a property to your app component. It will do nothing because there is nothing. It will not display over here as well because it's not being used. Now what we need to do is all the properties we pass here will be available in the first argument of your function. You can name it props. Generally we name it props. Generally we name it props. So what I'll do is I'll create curly bracket props dot name. So we created an app component, we provided the property name equals to Zia Khan, and then in the function we accept a property. We can name it anything. It's a standard recommended name of React, but I can say data, so there's no not to worry about. I'll we name it props. All the properties will be available here, and what I'll do is I'll name it props dot name, because what we are doing is we are sending name property.
So in the props, there are object coming.
Yeah, there is an object. All the properties will be in this prop parameter.
Uh,
Here you can see Zia Khan.
Can I have more than one property?
Yes, we can have more than one property. So what I'll say is age. How about age?
My, I'm 25.
Okay, 25.
Can yes.
Okay, so now it will not be displayed because we are not using it. So what we can do is we add more content to it. Age equals props dot age. Age equals to 25. So I can provide as many properties I want. All those properties will be coming in this prop object. This is the first parameter of your comp function, and all the properties will be coming as an object in this parameter.
Okay. Can you go back? I think what you have used is a string for a age.
Yes,
Let's
yes.
use an integer for the age. And
Okay,
what we do
so
is when you receive it, show it by deducting -10.
yes, yes, definitely. So whatever property you are providing is accepted as string. So name equals to Zia Khan, age equals to 25. It's in a string. uh, in React, if you want to provide other data type to an property, for because age is a number, So we need to provide a number over here instead of, you can see it's a 25, but it's in a character, it's not a number. So what you can do is React provide a syntax, you create a curly brackets, and then you provide this 25. Now, as of now, you will not feel any difference. It's the same, but now
Let me
you
say
can.
my manipulative.
Yes.
Yes, you can make it 15.
Okay. So now what I can do is let new age equals to
Any
props.
can't we do it? Just props dot age minus 10. Can't we do
Yeah,
that?
we can do that. We can do that.
Uh,
Minus 10,
let's see.
and I'm doing it in curly bracket.
Uh,
15.
okay, can you go back in the
Yes.
app thing and remove the curly brackets? Let's see what will happen.
Curly bracket
Not
from
yet.
here.
No, no, no. Where you are passing from?
Okay. In age. Okay.
Uh,
So if I am not providing curly bracket, I need to provide double quotations.
no, no. Don't do anything. Just put
No,
25.
it will fail to compile.
What
It
is he
should
saying?
pass JSX value should be either an expression or a quoted text, JSX text. It is saying that either it should be an expression or a string.
So expression. What do you mean by expression?
Yeah. Whenever you need to do a calculation or provide a variable or need to do a calculation or any operation that needs JavaScript execution, you need curly bracket in React.
What do you mean by curly bracket?
Curly bracket is just an whenever you are creating a custom tag, you need an execution of JavaScript. Like let's say this is double quote and here is it 25. It's in just in a string. I do not want a string. I need to do some calculation or anything else. Let's say I need to do 25 minus 10, 25 multiplied by 2. So this is an expression. Any calculation or any statement that includes operation between two literals, two variables, two operators in JavaScript, it's in a simple. But because it is a part of React component you are providing over here, it's this, as we have discussed. This is not HTML. This is not a string. This is not an single variable, and this is not simple JavaScript expression. It's in a JSX syntax. So within the JSX, you need to follow the JSX rule for if you want to do any execution of or operation between two variables. So for
Ishan,
that, yes,
yeah, to me, for curly brackets, I think whenever you want to write JavaScript, you start writing in curly brackets.
yeah, basically, yeah, we can say that whenever we need to write a JavaScript. The word expression is actually related to, because it's in a JavaScript. We need to type, execute JavaScript expression, we can say. So it's in, whenever you write, need to call JavaScript component or variables. That's it. Same.
Basically, Ishan, React DOM.render is JavaScript. Am I right?
React DOM vendor is JavaScript.
Then you start writing div, which is basically JSX. Then,
Yes.
as soon as it sees the right bracket, less
Mhm.
than sign, it knows that now we are starting writing JSX. Am I right?
Curly bracket, if we are writing starting JS,
No, no,
not
no.
X.
I'm saying if we have written React DOM.render, it
Mm-hmm.
means that we are writing JavaScript. Am I right?
Yes. Yes.
After that, in the next line, as soon as it sees less than sign bracket,
Yes.
this less than sign, it
Yes.
knows that you have started writing JSX.
Yes.
Now we again want to write JavaScript. So we have to start with curly brackets. Is that correct?
Agree. Correct.
So therefore, whenever you want to switch modes, if you
Mm-hmm.
want to switch mode from JavaScript to
JS.
JSX,
Mm.
you start with a less than sign.
Yes.
And whenever you want to again go back into JavaScript, you start with a curly bracket.
Deliberate.
Am I right?
Yes.
That is the case. Just go ahead.
Okay. So as I did this, I have given age equals to curly bracket and 25.
Uh,
So now we can see that age equals to 15 in here.
mhm.
This is how it is done.
So therefore, if you go to the tutorial and can you share the tutorial?
Just a moment. Yes, this one.
So
The
if you go
side.
to, yes, if you go to the point where it says custom button, which says green is equal to true, width is equal to 64, can you share that on your screen?
Sure, sure. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so
This thing. Could you increase the font?
yes, just
Now, can you explain what kind of different variables they are passing?
basically the custom button. It clearly shows it's not an HTML built-in element. It's a custom component created by user. Then you can pass whatever property you want. So what you did is you created you are providing a property name green, you are providing property name width, you are providing property name options, and you are providing property name on click. This on click does not mean it's in a click function, it's just in a property. Then we need to provide value to that property. So green equals curly bracket true. As we have just discussed a moment before, that for example, well, let's say I'm going to say it is React developer, and I need to say true. So this true does not mean true actually. It's in a string. So as we had discuss a moment later, I need to pass JavaScript. So I'll do it true. Same over here. Green equals to true. So we'll provide a curly bracket and true. Width equals to 64. It's in a number. So we have provided curly bracket. And because it's in a JavaScript, you can provide object within object. So you provided a curly bracket, and then what you do is you have created a curly bracket awesome equals to yes. This is another object which has two property. One is awesome and another is disabled. So this option property will receive an object. After that, there is a on click property. Again, it's a property, curly bracket, and we are providing whatever we want. But looking at this example, actually user is providing a function over here. We'll discuss these later, but user is providing a function over here. So these are the properties.
Is it calling a function on click?
Sorry.
It is calling a function to stub function or just passing a
uh,
pointer to the function?
it's just a passing a pointer. It's just passing as we have passed value, we have passed 64, we have passed another object. It's just passing a function because it's in a just a name. There is no round bracket. Whenever you want to call a function, you must have a round bracket. So there
In
is
the
not
end,
a round bracket. It's passing a
in the
function.
end. Therefore, it will be called when you on click
Yes,
is pushed. Okay.
yes, whenever we call the on click function.
Now, if you go down and not on this tutorial, go back to the your code
Yes.
and go back to your code and let us see it. You had mentioned properties. Is there any way where we can document this props.age doesn't look nice because if you have a lot of properties, you'll have to say props.data.age. Is there any way
Mhm.
we can basically make it that everybody knows that we just using the name property here in this tag or age.
Yeah. What we can do is we have a uh, property where we can specify whatever properties we have.
For
Just
example, in the props thing, you just put
Mhm.
down name.
Yeah, instead of you're talking about this.
Yes, yes, and remove this props thing.
Yes,
Is it
it will
running?
work. Yeah, it will work definitely. Let me change the value so we are sure. Yes, it's working.
Hmm. What is happening? I don't understand it.
Yeah, basically it's in a new syntax of JavaScript, maybe in ES6 or 7. I just forgetting the specification name, but it's introduced in the JavaScript. It's called destructuring. It is called destructuring. Whatever object you have, what you can do is let me just show it with the JavaScript first. Let's say I have a variable based on JavaScript. I have a variable user. It has an object name equals to Zia Khan and age equals to 45. This is an object, and whenever I want to extract properties from this object, what I need to do is I'll need to do like this. Assuming that this object has an 20 or 30 properties, and there are multiple properties over here which we are not discussing at this moment. So what I can do is I need to do is name equals to user dot name. Then I have to do age equals to user dot age, and this goes for the multiple like this.
This is the
It will
usually the way
provide.
we used to
Yeah,
do it in JavaScript or
yeah.
other languages.
Usually we were doing like this. So
Mhm.
what we can do now is let curly bracket name comma age equals to user. Let me just go back to the syntax I just wrote. So we can see let name comma age equals to user. This line exactly same as these two. So what it's doing is destructuring the user object, and whatever you are asking from the user object will available here. And that means it must be name property must be in user object, and you are using name property here and then age here. So extracting the name from the user and will give you the name property, extract the age property from user and will give you in age variable. And then what you can do is you can use these properties easily. For let's say I'm just uh, let updated age equals to age minus 20. So this age variable is here. So this is the restructuring. You extract the properties from the object, and in verbose syntax. So it just not you just don't need to write 10 or 20 lines to extract variables from your object. Even it's a two line. It create the complexity. It's more simpler way in a destructure format.
Okay, so let's remove this code. We just go with the name thing in the parameters. Thank you so much.
Now,
Now,
mm,
yeah,
I
you were
just
saying
need to
something.
explain over here also.
Yes.
What I was saying there, here we were expecting that some property is coming, some object is coming. We are expecting an object in a first parameter. So we are exactly expecting that there are object is coming in, and that object should have name and age property. So what we are doing is we are destructuring that prop object directly in the parameter of the function. So we are creating a curly bracket and we are saying name comma age. So we are expecting that an object is coming in and we are destructuring it on the fly. So we will have directly name and age property in our function name.
Okay.
And
Okay.
this is
Now,
the output. Yes.
let's go back to the component, app component or app tag. It has now two properties, name and age. We can see it. It is very well documented by destructuring because it helps us document the thing
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
allows us to write less code. Now, what are the
Yes.
different ways? Let's go back to the tutorial and see what are the different ways of writing a function. And you explain they are basically 4 or 5 ways of writing a function.
Yes.
And in this sense, in
Okay.
functions are used to create, let's say, tags. So how do we make it simpler?
Okay, so the first syntax is the old syntax, name of the function, sorry, the keyword function, and the name of the function, round bracket, and as we just moment before discussed the destructuring, the name property, curly bracket start, curly bracket close, and and the return value. uh, Here you can return anything. Just we are this article is discussing the React. That's why this article has provided the React syntax J6. Otherwise you can return anything. So this is the basic plain function we used to do work with plain JavaScript. Another one is anonymous function, because what we did is we create a variable and we provide that variable a function. This function does not have a name. It's an anonymous function and its value is stored in Hive variable. So whenever you want to call this function, what you need to do is you need to provide just a hi and round bracket. So this function is being will be called. The third way is arrow function. In this case, what we are doing is we have removed the function keyword. We have removed the initial structure. What we were doing is directly curly bracket and we just did arrow and curly brackets. Constant high equals to at this moment it just removed the function keyword and added the arrow.
What is this arrow? Equal to sign
This,
and greater than
yes,
sign?
equal to sign and arrow, greater than sign.
This is a different way of defining a function.
Yes, there's a different way of defining the function. There is an context into it. We'll discuss in a moment what why this arrow function is and what it will do and why it is beneficial to use this arrow function. What here it is doing, another option is instead of returning using the return keyword, we just use the round bracket and it returns the div element. To create a more simplify, if you need to provide a bigger object or multiple values, then you need to have a round bracket. Otherwise it's just a simple const high function parameter equal sign and this. I just need to iterate these functions, then we can discuss them the concept in detail. What actually happening is we need to streamline or verbose or create a less cluttered structure of creating a function or calling a function. So here what we have is let's go back to the this syntax. It's a function keyword, function name, parameter round bracket, curly bracket start, curly bracket return. There are a lot of things that if you are when you will be working in with the React, you need a lot of component, you need a lot of elements that need to be interact with each other. So every time whenever you are writing a function and return, it will create a lot of syntax which is not required. So if you need a simple syntax, and there is another reason of the arrow function which is this context, which we are not discussing at this moment. So we skip this keyword, this variable name. We just started with the round bracket. So here you can see const high equals to round bracket. So this is the function parameter, and instead of providing a curly bracket, we just did arrow and the tag. This tag is nothing, just in a value. Let me go to the just I'm just showing this over here. Const hello equals to round bracket. I'm expecting, for now I'm not expecting anything in here. Arrow and hello world. So this function is exactly same as
It basically
this.
reduces the syntax.
Reduces the syntax and more cleaner code when you have a very simple function which are just returning simpler values and a simple expression calculation. Okay, so if you have an expression in the function and multiple line of code, then what you need to do is you need to apply some calculation over here. Then you will require this, or what you can do is you can do this student function. So for now, I'm just moving back to simpler one. This is how it works. And now if I want to provide a property, let's say name. This is how it will work. In context of destructuring, which we have discussed a moment before, we are expecting an object which is coming in, and that object contains the name property. So we'll use this way. This is how functions being created, and we have a multiple option. The plain one, it's an older style. It's an anonymous function. We have been using it also previously. This is the new arrow function, and it has a return. You start reducing the syntax, round bracket, and then you are just in a single line of an expression. Whenever you need to call the advanced JavaScript functions like map, filter, or all those functions which requires function to be passed into them, these arrow function are quite useful over there.
Love it. Love it. Let's move
Okay.
forward. Anything else?
um, I guess we can create a one more component and we provide that in app component so that we can see there's a tree building up.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so what I'm doing is at this moment we have index.js create a div and it provides the app, and now in app component we have a div which has hello from JS. Now what we are going to do is we are going to create another component. So let's go to the file and we say hello.js, and in that hello.js, as I'm a lazy developer, so I'm going to copy paste it. And I'll rename hello. This is another component. We just need to create a function and then export it. Now in app.js, what I want to do is I want to use this component inside app component. So what I'll do is I'll import hello from dot slash hello, and here what I'll do is I'll
Why
create
did you,
br.
why did you put dot in front of the slash?
It just referring the current folder slash
The
that
name of
means
the file.
wherever app.js resides. Yeah,
Okay.
it's in a relative path.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm adding a br line break, and then I'll provide hello over here. Let's go for the okay. This para is in hello tag, and if we try to understand whatever we have, so div hello Ziakhan age br and p tag. So index.js starts developing the structure, the div, it receives the div, and then inside that div it has an app tag. But try to evaluate this app tag. This app tag will convert into this div, and we are inside that we have another tag hello. This hello tag will be converted into this p tag. So this is how tree will goes on. And what we can do is we can easily send this name property to hello tag also. So let's say I'm expecting a name over here. So I need to pass it over here. So what I'll do is I'll let me change the variable name, first name. So what I'll do is I'll create first name equals curly bracket name. Now here I cannot use like this because it will be in a string. So we need to switch mode, as we have discussed. We need to provide JavaScript. So I'll use this, and here we can see output. It's any question over here?
Yeah. What we are going to do is, Zishan,
Yes.
we are going to discuss that the tutorial, the sorry assignment, which was
Mm-hmm.
given by the tutorial. We will explain to the students the tutorial, and they will do it before the next class. Let's
Okay.
go
So
to
to the tutorial.
which it says your turn.
Okay. Uh, there are two your turn. I just need
We want
to,
to do first one.
yeah, we need to go for the first one. Yes. Here it is.
Could you explain what is required and increase the font size?
Okay. So what it's saying, make sure actually try this exercise. Change the text to hello world and say hello your name, as we already did this. Bold your name by wrapping strong tags. So for example, here somewhere you need to like we I use br tag, I use div tag. You need to use a strong tag to bold your name inside the div, and under your name add some other HTML element. I just showed this also. We can add another HTML element, so you can add another HTML element in your div, heading order and unordered list. For example, get the feel of how it works. So you can it is asking to add ordered and unordered list with li tag. So inside your div, let's which div we are talking about. We have an app component, and then there is some text over here. We are talking about this. So it's saying that provide your name, bold your name, inside your div, provide some other HTML element like li, list ordered and unordered list. as I mentioned that you can put real JS code inside JSX, so you can provide expression. We just tried this, so you can also provide some expression into it. Want to style with CSS? Okay, so it provide the CSS. But we have not discussed CSS. Should we show some CSS over here?
Let's go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so until this moment we had CSS files, but we have not discussed them, and I'm not going to use them also, so that we stay clear. What I'll do is I'll create another CSS file, hello.css, so that we are sure we are using a different dot. My name, I just need to specify a tag, so that my name, and what I'm trying to say is background color.
Yellow.
Yes.
Anka, do you want to make it yellow, red, or what?
Green. There is a story behind it.
Uh,
Okay, so what I did is hello.css, and in hello.js what I need to do is I need to import this CSS file. So I'll do import. Now on this paragraph I need to provide a class property, so that
uh-huh,
the class I have created with the dot my name
uh-huh.
should be available. So what I'll do is, generally in JavaScript what we do is we do like this. We cannot do this in here because the class property is for JavaScript. We need to provide class name property. It's blue. So whatever property we are creating, we just I have created CSS in a traditional format, the CSS we used to do it. The class or the tag, the ID tag or the class tag, any property you want to use in CSS, you can do over here. And then in JS file, you need to provide the class name. So class name equals to, you can provide like this.
Okay. Now, what we need to do is basically, please make a repository for this, your code,
Okay.
so that
Mhm.
everybody will submit their URL for the published code as well as the
Okay.
GitHub URI, so that everybody create a new direct repository for this code, which is basically React class 1.
Okay. So I'm again, because we already have a project we discussed in this last class, so I'm not initializing the readme and just create the repository. Then what I'll do is I'll copy the URL. I'll go to the my folder where I have created the repository, and in this repository first I'll do is git init. Okay, so git init, git status, I have this git add, git commit. We can do all this with the UI also, but at this moment I'm just using the command. Why this is not moving? Okay. Now I need to push this repository into my GitHub repository. So what I'll do is first I need to add remote here, because git remote -v, it will not show anything because there is no remote. We cannot push code to any GitHub repository. Git remote add origin. As I mentioned previously, we can give any name instead of origin, but the default name should be origin. That's why I'm using the same. Okay. Again, I'll go and check. Yeah, I have the repository now. Git push git push origin master. Okay, so now it is available over here. We have code, and now students can push their repository in this issue section.
Okay, let's now also add a search code, the GitHub actions code also.
Okay, to deploy it. Okay.
Yes.
Action.
You can copy from your last project if it's taking time.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I need to.
Whenever some code is working, I always copy it.
Okay, so I'll copy this file. So we have deploy React with yarn master latest Ubuntu
We'll also have to define the
account
tag, search tag,
search tag. Yeah,
secret secret.
basically secret is already, because I need to provide in my repository, so I'll provide this in my repository in a
Uh-huh.
moment.
Mhm.
Okay, so the yarn install build React search in the build file. What I need to do is I need to provide search token. So I need to find out what my search token is. Here I have it, and I'll go to the repository setting, secret, new secret. I'll use the name and the token. Okay, so now I'll commit it and see if this action works fine or not.
Do we need to change the name of the
App, it will just
yeah,
replace it. I
yeah,
just don't need.
yeah.
Otherwise, there'll be a lot of app with
Uh,
our name and on. But search is turning down. If a app is not in use, search removed it. Search is removing it. Search. It's building the yarn. It's error in build app. Logo is defined but never used. You don't need it. Process fix it. Treating warning as error. Mostly fail to compile app.js. Fail to compile app.js. Don't need it. But let's see.
what was the mistake?
It's just saying the logo variable is being declared but not being used. That should not be the error, but let's see.
Why did you do pull? Git pull?
We have created the action over here, so I just need to pull so that
You have it on the local machine as well.
yes,
Well, first pull and then push.
yes. Hopefully, this was the only problem.
We have 2 minutes left in the class.
Okay, so we can do 2 or 3 more commits.
Now, if this works, from now on, you are going to just whatever you are going to code, you are going to push to the repository. It will be immediately deployed, and this is what is called CI/CD.
Yes, yes. Okay, so it says the app is already being used by someone else, but it is on my token, so I don't need to. Okay, so just I'm just changing it on the fly. Just so that it just does not conflict with any name. I just name it React New Yarn.
I think some of our students saw that what you were doing and they created their own immediately.
Okay, maybe. Maybe. Okay, it's deployed.
It worked.
Yes, work.
Okay, let's see.
Here it is.
Oh, let's have clapping for you. Now,
And
what we are going to do is everybody is going to submit their assignment, which is given by the tutorial. Where can you show please the issue section of your repository? We are just documenting this. What we are going to do is create a new issue.
Imran already posted it.
And Imran, who's his name? Imran Manawar.
Yes.
Let's see what he's done. Yes, get a deployment link and repo. Let's see the deployment
Yeah.
link. Wow, he's a fast worker, Imran Manawar.
Yes.
So therefore, what we are going to do is, from next class, if Imran Manawar is interested, we will add him
Mhm.
in the class,
Yes. That will be great.
and he can work with us to teach others, and we'll make him the CR of this class.
Yes. Yes. That can
There's
be.
two ifs. He wants to join it as a teacher, number one, and the second thing is he wants to deliver this class in English. If you want to do it, Zishan, why don't you go ahead and send him a message about this and talk to him? Ask him to call you and you discuss it with him.
Sure. Sure. I'll do.
Okay, thank you everyone.
Uh,
See you.
to find him, he's on. I'll check that out. Okay.
On, therefore, what we are going to do is we are going to meet on Tuesday at 10 p.m.
Hmm.
and then proceed with the tutorial as soon as try to finish it as soon as possible. Thank you,
Sure.
everyone. Dishan, thank you so much for
Thank you.
your brilliant work.
Thank you.
And let's meet on Wednesday at
Tuesday.
on Tuesday. Let's meet on Tuesday at 10 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time. Thank you, everyone. Talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye.